Bunga. Hello and welcome back to the Eastman Sport Report, your father-son coach-player podcast about the Sacramento Kings and San Francisco 49ers. I am your host, Maxwell Eastman, joined once again by my co-host, Steven Eastman.
Hello, Max. How you doing there?
I'm doing great. It's been a fun week.
Hey, I love
like
your
2 weeks.
I love your sweater from from Turks and Caicos, and I'm supporting my Mitch Richmond jersey here on camera. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see us on video again. And if you are on season 2 listening to us, I hope you enjoyed our new intro video. So it sounds really good on Spotify, and it sounds and looks good on YouTube. So thank you very much, Max. Max did all that work, so good job on Max for making our new intro to the podcast. So, okay.
A lot of sleepless nights.
Max has fun with his video editing. Hey, before we get too far into this, we got to give a shout out since Max is a player.
Yes.
He does actually play sports for a high school sports team.
And right now I am on a high school soccer team.
Yes, a high school soccer team. And that high school soccer team won a game on last Friday.
Yes.
So this is recording on a Tuesday, 2 weeks after our season opening one here. So after week 2 of the NFL season. On Friday, we have to give a shout-out to Brendan Hooper. He got a goal.
Yes.
Tyzo got a goal. And then Jason got 2 goals.
Both off penalty kicks.
Both off penalty kicks. Yeah, both of them were like, one of them was really cool. It kind of went right over in the corner. Anyway, good job both to our Falcons players, and they got a win in 4 goals, 4-1 win. So, awesome. There's our shout-out to our local sports guys. Now on to the pros. Anything else you want to cover here, Max?
I haven't scored a goal yet, so that I'm working on it. I got really close one time, but I didn't jump up to head it. No one else has talked about it on my team, but I've been replaying it. I've thought about it.
That's the player inside of you. Like coaches still replay things too. I'm not much of a soccer coach, so I'm learning soccer. But
I learned what offsides is.
Hey, in my 24 seasons of coaching, I never have coached soccer. And 1 of volleyball, 4 flag football, and the rest are basketball. So, yeah. Okay, on to a little bit of Sacramento Kings moves until we take the rest of the episode talking football.
Yes.
Well, the one thing I wanted to bring up was the Netflix show Starting 5 is they released the trailer today. Max hasn't seen it. I saw it. That was a really good job. In there, they bring out Sabonis, but I'm wondering if he's going to be like the bottom of the 5 and how much time they do on it.
Yeah.
But either way, I think it's going to be really good exposure to Domantas Sabonis and his family life and how much he really does love his family and his kids. I also think it's going to be really awesome because that is going to follow him from last season. And
follows his double streak of 50.
It was like almost the whole season where it's like the really long double streak and stuff like that, NBA record type of thing. It also does follow LeBron James where he won the in-season tournament. Yeah. Follows Jason Tatum who won the NBA championship. Anthony Edwards goes far in the playoffs. Who else is in it? Jason Tatum, LeBron James, Sabonis. There's one other guy we're missing.
Is it?
Oh, Jimmy Butler, the Heat. So, anyway, looking forward. That comes out, I think, October 9th, if I remember correctly. So, we got a couple more weeks before that. Okay, any other Kings news?
About yesterday, actually, the Kings announced, after it got leaked by Mike Bibby on his Instagram, of their, I think they just call it their throwback editions, which is the old 2010s era of Sacramento Kings, 2010s, early 2010s, or all 2000s wear of the sharp purples, with the sharp letters and everything. I think it looks really cool.
It's the mid-2000s, not 2010s.
Early 2010s, like very early. Before we moved into Golden One.
Okay. Well, yeah. It's when Doug Christie and Mike Bibby both wore these, and it has a really cool kind of video where Doug Christie actually comes in and wears his and gets in, he's shooting. Then Mike Bibby shows up. It's really kind of cool. A nice, good throwback to some really good times, really good teams. So it does look a nice jersey. I'm looking forward to that. So
I kind of
why we're wearing the throwback jersey here. A little bit older, but still throwback jersey. So that's why we're sporting it today. Okay.
I think we're good.
Ready to Niner stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's start off with the reaction to week 1.
Okay.
Amazing. I have heard from a lot of people that I watch and follow that that's like a perfect football game. Long time of possession, just complete domination on defense, on offense. At one point, early into the fourth quarter, the time of possession was 30 minutes San Francisco, 15 minutes New York. It's complete domination.
Yeah, and it ended up almost 39 minutes to 21. It was around the range.
Yeah.
It might be a few seconds off there, but in that range and total domination. The Niners scored on 8 straight possessions. Now, that was 6 field goals, which ties in Niners record for amount of field goals in a game. But he does have the longest he had more 50-yarders out of all the other Niner players that had done it. Do you know the other 3 Niner kickers who have done 6 field goals in a game, Max?
The only Niner kicker that I know besides Jake Moody is Robbie Gould.
Well, Robbie Gould's one of them, so very good.
Hey,
you got one of them.
That's cool.
Do you remember the
No.
kicker from the 1980s?
You serious?
Come on, you don't Ray Wershing?
Are you just making up names?
No,
Is this some Madden auto-generated
No.
college football
Uh-uh.
AI-made football player that's, oh yeah, and he kicks with his left foot or something?
No, that is truly a thing there. So Jeff Wilkins was the other one. So that's where we're at with this. So we had 4 kickers that have done that, and
I know 2 of those.
And you
That's
know
50%. That's
Hey,
50%.
you know.
That's passing in the Great Britain.
okay, good for you.
Thank you. But Jordan Mason did amazing in that game.
Yep.
Like, I don't know what Kyle Shanahan or John Lynch has in their DNA to just keep on drafting really good undrafted signing really good undrafted players or getting really good players really late into the draft and just developing the heck out of them until they eventually see the field, just like Jordan Mason did. And he's been doing really good. He's second in the league in rush yards so far this season.
Yeah, after 2 games, he is second. Do you remember who the first one is?
J.K. Dobbs of the Chargers.
Okay, good job.
Is this a test?
Yeah, it was. Sorry, I'm getting my
He
notes
is
went away.
he
Go
is
ahead.
organizing himself. But Jordan Mason did really good. He had some really impressive runs, especially I think in the third quarter where he blasted completely past the guy, and it was like, oh my goodness, when I saw it.
Yeah, he sees the holes really good, which is it's funny if you talk about him seeing holes. Isaac Guerrero, he had 1 rush in the second game.
Yeah.
If you watch that video, he did not find the hole at all. There was a hole. You follow Trent Williams and Jordan and Banks, and you find the hole. He went to another place, and anyway, so Guerrero had 1 run.
The best thing about Mason is he knows to follow his linemen because he knows that Trent Williams is amazing. He knows that Aaron Banks is really good, and he knows that if he can trust his linemen to do their job and get blocks, that he can do whatever he wants. He can style on him. He can truck through people who gets in his way. He can stiff arm. He can do whatever.
Yeah.
He just hits the hole hard.
Yeah, and Dominic Pooney, like they actually ran 60-something% of their rushes to the right, which is Pooney and McKivitz. Normally they're running 60% to the left
With Trent Williams.
and Banks, and now they're like with Pooney, he's actually making McKivitz better because of Pooney. So awesome job by Pooney. I think he was the number 2 ranked rookie out of all rookies by PFF, ranking wise. So he was, Pooney had an awesome week 1. So we might actually start posting these out on the Twitter, but I have I list my keys to the game. I don't always have them ready for the podcast, but I do have them ready before game time. It takes me a little bit to get totally ready for the next game. So I had 3 keys to the game. I would like to review those. So and I do text these to Max, so I don't just make these up afterwards. I have been texting these to Max before the game starts.
I can be a witness. He does do this.
I do say this before the game. Okay, first game I said here, McCaffrey health. Now the funny thing is, he wasn't, but his replacement was really good. So that was a key to the game of like, well, how good is our running back going to be? McCaffrey wasn't there, but Mason had a big game. Number 2. This is where I wish I had some music. Number 2. Anyway, big game from Kittle. The Jets, I said, had really good corners. They have Sauce Gardner, one of the best corners in the league. They have DJ Reed, who's another really good corner. I was expecting Debo and Ayuk to both be covered, and Kittle to come out and had a good game. Now, he had a decent game. I wouldn't say a great game, but he had a decent game. So that was my key. I do think it was still pretty good there, but not as good as the other ones. The other one is new defensive line. How do they look? First game with the new defensive line.
Looked amazing.
The run defense was great.
Yeah.
Run defense was awesome. Like Malik Collins in there just shedding blocks. Really good. Now, they only had one sack on Rodgers, so they didn't get tons of pressure, but he had happy feet. Now, I don't know if he had happy feet because it was his first game back from an Achilles injury, and he hasn't played for much almost in 2 years, but he had happy feet, and you were kind of making him move around and not throw very comfortable in there. So Floyd had the one sack. Of course, Floyd is the one who injured him in the game one last year. Didn't injure him this time.
Luckily.
Yeah, luckily for Rodgers. But
what do you mean by that? Luckily for Rodgers.
Well, he didn't get injured. That's it. He didn't get injured.
I feel like you have ulterior motives here.
No, I don't. The one last thing I want to say is Rodgers had the third quickest from time to snap to throw. He had 2.42 seconds between when he snapped the ball to when he threw it. Like, that is super quick. Super fast. I think the fastest ones were 2.3 seconds. So he was getting rid of the ball really, really fast, which is why we didn't have too many sacks. So there was my 3 keys to the game.
Yeah, I don't have keys to the game. Yay!
Okay, I have a few other things I want to bring up here before we move on to this game here. The turning point of the game. I'd say the turning point of the game was when the Niners scored a field goal before halftime. Got the ball back the first time and go down and score a touchdown. Like, that's classic Kyle Shanahan. He loves to go get that kind of double dip. He scores twice. Well, you don't even have the ball. That was the turning point of the game. I think that that was 10 points, but that put him up by, I forget what it was. It was 16-7 or something like that. Like, it totally increased the lead. I probably need to look it up, but it gave us a very comfortable lead. And then we just kept pushing out because when you score 8 possessions in a row, it does pretty good. So
sometimes.
Yeah. Any other comments on the game there, Max?
No, not really.
Okay.
One thing I want to say for week 2 is Fred Warner is having himself a starting season.
Oh yeah.
He already has an interception against Sam Darnold. He forced a fumble against Brees Hall. He forced another fumble against, I forget who on the Vikings because it
was a running back. He actually recorded.
Was that Aaron
he had
Jones?
2 forced fumbles against the Vikings. One of them was going at the sidelines, so the ball just went out of bounds.
Yeah,
but he forced 2, so he had 2 He forced 2 turnovers.
He had a sack in the Minnesota game. He is playing amazing. He's playing like I don't know if
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's playing like an all-time linebacker right now.
Yeah. I know. Like, I was about to comment on, like, when we get to the Vikings game, I'll do a little bit of it here. Like, where is Greenlaw's replacement? Like, I think I said this in the game was to Max or something like that. Maybe I might have texted him, like, where is Greenlaw's replacement? Or maybe I wrote it down in my notes. Like, where is Greenlaw's replacement in the fourth quarter? I have not seen his name once. I have not seen him pop out of the screen once. Then, like, 2 minutes later, he makes 1 tackle, like his only tackle of the game. But, like, where is Campbell? Fred Warner's doing amazing.
Yeah.
Bosa's doing decent or good, but Fred Warner is just doing really, really good.
Yeah.
There's a few other things I wanted to go back to on game 1. This is of course, the ESPN national broadcast. I was not very impressed with ESPN. There was a few broadcast comments that I didn't like.
From a Niners fan standpoint.
Yeah. More maybe one of them is just a fan because they got something wrong. And other ones are more of a coaching perspective, so as your coach here type of thing. Okay, number 1, they listed the starter as Hufanga.
Yeah.
He was inactive for the game. Our starting safer.
I remember that. We saw it, and you were like, wait, Hufanga?
Wait a minute, Hufanga? And like we were a little bit behind lifetime because Max was playing soccer, so we had to wait a little bit.
I'm sorry.
So sorry, but we started the game a little bit late. But like I couldn't look up on Twitter. Like, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure he's not playing today.
Yeah.
So, okay, come on, guys, get that right. The other thing is, and this is a couple times, like, the national broadcast people don't do a very good job of recognizing the substitution patterns. And I think it's super, like, football's a game of matchups. It is super big on matchups and who's out there on the field, who's matching up with who. I'll get to some matchup stuff in the second game when we get to the Vikings game. But this first game, the Jets went to a 5-man defensive line. Did the commentators did anybody aware of that? Because the Niners were running all over the Jets. Broadcaster said nothing. Come on, guys. That's an important thing into the game. Okay, Samuel and Ayuk were out of the game later. They even showed it on the screen, and you had Ronnie Bell and Conley and like our way back up wide receivers. No comment, no nothing. And you're like, when I see that, you're like, are they going to do a running play? They actually did do a passing play, but you're like, come on, comment on the I really love to see the situational things of who's going in and going where, and like, okay, that's super. As a coach, that's how you scheme the game up, and they do nothing to talk about that. So it's kind of when you listen to like the radio or like in the summer when they do preseason, and you have the Niners guys who know, like, hey, he's a backup, and this is weird to have him in. Like, come on. And I could also mention some things like, let me just go into the Vikings game on this topic as well. The Vikings game, they had Mustafa in there, your rookie, for safety. Why is Mustafa in the game? Like, if your starters owed him, why is you said Mustafa with the tackle? Wait, what? Mustafa's in the game? Like, why? Come on. Like, that's like, come on. And you find out later, like, oh, they were doing shares. Like, okay, well, George Odom got taken out of the game after he gave up a 97-yard touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson.
The 97-yard touchdown pass where the refs outran him.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, Odom, did he get benched because he got outran? Now, he came back in at the beginning of the third quarter, but you're like, that sure looked like he got benched, and why didn't they comment on that? Like, come on, national commentators, be a little more smarter about the game that you're watching and comment on these things. And then, like, even if you get back to that 97-yard touchdown play, matchups are super important. Okay, Odom got beat. Why is two safeties covering the best wide receiver in the game? Nick Sorensen, could you please answer that question? Why do you have two safeties covering the best wide receiver in the game when you have one of your all-pro cornerbacks sitting over there guarding somebody else? Please answer that question. And they do nothing. You're like, come on, like, Twitter people or people online, like, come on, like, be smarter about if you're going to be a commentator, like, that's the stuff that you got to pick up and understand. You're like, wait a minute, why are two safeties covering the best wide receiver in the game? It should always be a safety in a corner. Not two safeties. Anyway, sorry. Okay, I get off my soapbox.
Okay. Good rant. Good
rant. There's your rant for a late night rant for Steven today. Okay.
It is 9 p.m. We are
okay. Okay. Are we ready to move on to that's anything else in the Jets game?
I don't have anything else from the Jets.
Okay, it was a great win. Loved it. It was awesome. Okay, Vikings. Would you like to say some opening comments?
I wasn't at the Vikings game because I was doing a thing with my junior guys small group. So I didn't actually watch the game. I assumed that I didn't have to watch the game because it'd be an easy win against Sam Darnold and the Vikings.
And when he said that before the game, I was like, no, the Vikings are good. And he was like, Dad, they're fine. I'm like, okay.
Like I said in the first episode, Sam Darnold is a really good quarterback. He's going to give you 4 touchdowns, and then eventually later in the season, he's going to give you 4 interceptions for 3 games. I don't know when that's going to happen. Apparently, he wouldn't do the 4 touchdowns against the Niners.
Well, I do have to say, I think Sam Darnold, by taking a step back with the Niners last year, really helped him. Like, he was actually, before he came to the Niners, he played 6 games, last 6 games at Carolina. He was starting to turn the corner there. Like, he was starting to get away from his Jets days and really started to turn into that. So I think he's starting to turn the corner, and I think people are way too down on him. I think he's going to have a really good, not a really good year, but I think he's going to have a decent to good year where if the Vikings don't keep him, there's other teams that should definitely pick him up, a.k.a. Panthers. They
already had Sam Darnold.
That's true, and they let him go.
Yeah.
And who'd you get? Bryce Young, and you just benched. Okay. My overall, I have keys to the game. We'll come back to that. My overall thing of the Vikings game. First off, the Niners have not won a game in Minnesota since 1992. I think it's about eight straight games they've lost in Minnesota. Now, they don't play there a lot, but still, come on, 1992? That's a really long time.
That's
okay.
before I existed.
That was back when I was in high school.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, over 30 years ago.
That's a lot different than me saying I didn't exist back then. You were in high school? You are.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that out to the world,
You
but.
don't care. I'm 48. I just had my 30-year reunion, high school reunion recently.
Good for you.
And so, yes, shout out to my classmates' 30-year reunion this past weekend.
Don't say your high school. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. I know it's 9 p.m. Don't say it.
No, I'm not going to say it, but thank you, classmates, for all that stuff. Any fun stuff. But, hey, that's older than that. I was in high school when the last time the Niners won in Minnesota, which was really bad. So, overall, Niners played a really sloppy game. Their offense wasn't very in
Cahoots.
In sync is what I was looking for, but thank you, Cahoots is good too. The offense was not in sync. The defense, besides Fred Warner and a little bit of Fred Bosa, not good. We'd already talked about how good Fred Warner was. And the special teams had problems. They had two problems on special teams. They had a block punt and a muff punt. Now, luckily, we recovered the muff punt, so it wasn't as bad as it could be. But, like, if you didn't have Fred Warner in the game, we're probably blown out. Like, Fred Warner totally, those two turnovers were in the red zone, took off 14 points off the board totally for the Vikings. Like, we lost by 6. We could have easily lost by 20-something.
I agree.
So, without Fred Warner. So, yeah, they had, what was the stats here I'm looking at here? So, overall, here it is. On third down, they were 2 out of 10. That is horrible. On fourth down, they were 1 for 3. So overall, in third and fourth downs, they were 3 for 13. That is horrible.
Something I saw was that in the Vikings game, the Niners were down by, I forget what it was, but the Vikings had a chance to put it away on a final drive. They went down the field and got 3 consecutive third down conversions.
And they were long third and longs.
Yeah.
They were not third and shorts. They were third and longs.
Yeah.
And our defense could not get off the field.
Gave up every single one of them to give up the game scoring field goal.
It's clinching because it made it a 2-score game. Niners are down by 6. Niners game down. The offense is finally starting to get in a little bit of sync. Went down and scored a touchdown. Got it within 6 points. Okay, we just need to get the ball back. 10 minutes left in the game. You're like, oh, yeah, well, fine, we'll get the ball back. Yeah, no, they go down and score, and it's like you can't let them score, and you can't let them run a whole bunch of time off the clock. They did both. So, I mean, good job on the Vikings, bad job on our defense. We could just not do it. I'd say that I look at our defense where, again, you had young safeties, Jair Brown and Mustafa out there. I think they both can be good players, but we're missing Hufunga. I also think we're missing Deshaun Gibson. We're missing Greenlaw, who's injured. Deshaun Gibson's not on the team anymore. But he was a veteran presence. And as a safety, sometimes you have to go out there and tell everybody else, you're back there looking. You got to say, hey, you got that, you got that. I don't think these young guys are doing that. And case in point on this, there was a couple of times where our corners were not in sync. And I think we'll get better throughout the year. And some of the times it was Yidam, who's the new guy. And it was Yidam and Ward. There was one time where, in one of these was some of the third down plays we were just talking about, they converted on. One of them was the plays come out, they were in a bunch formation, and 2 receivers basically were running together, and the guy on the top was basically guarded by 2 defensive players, and the other guy just ran out. He was wide open. Like, okay, if you're doing that, the safety or they need to talk better. Say, when you're bunched into 3, you have 3 defensive players. Hey, you get the inside. I get the guy that goes that way. You get the guy that goes that way. And they were both taking this guy on the top. And you're like, no, you got to get over here to go to that guy. And so it was just, and it was a last-minute guy came over. But like, come on, defense, you guys got to talk that through. And there was another time, that was one of them. And another one where it's like he come right up behind this offensive line. And this was a touchdown earlier in the game. Like, the guy comes right into an inside area, right inside the tight end and the tackle. And it looks like he's going to block for a running play. Well, the defender goes up. He goes right like he's blocking. And the guy runs right past him for a touchdown. Like, he was white. No one's guarding him. So there was another play on the third down that's like they didn't do it. So the defense, I think this is where when you have such a big turnover and a new coordinator, some of that stuff was showing up. But then the offense, Purdy had 2 turnovers. He was. I've seen some people say that like Purdy was fitting the ball into really small windows. And so sometimes you're like, man, Purdy had a really good game. But then it's also like he missed some people that were wide open. People have been showing some videos online. But some of his throws, like he was forcing it to Debo, but those were some dimes he was throwing into Debo. Now, but there's not very much separation he's getting. They need Ayuk to come back and actually get back in playing shape. And with Debo now injured, Christian McCaffrey's out. Like Ayuk, you just got paid $30 million. You better go and ball out against the Rams. Okay. Anything else you want to say on the Vikings? I have my two.
I want to say a personal message to Benedict. Hi, I drafted you in 2 of my fantasy football leagues. Please score points. Hi. I'm not bitter at all. I also have Deebo Samuel in the other one, and then he got injured, so that's fun.
Have fun with your fantasy team.
I'm having fun.
I got George Kittle.
Good for you.
And Nico Collins.
Good for you.
Okay.
I drafted Mark Andrews and then cried whenever I saw Isaiah Likely the first game of the season.
Well, okay. We'll come back to our fantasy segment later. Okay, keys to the Vikings game. I wrote down Purdy versus the Blitz. Because the Vikings are one of the highest blitz rates teams in the league. And he was mixed on that. He did not do very good. There was one that was 4th down and goal at the end of the game, right before the 97-yard touchdown, 4th and goal at the 2-yard line.
Yeah.
Blitz comes at him. Purdy throws it. It's deflected off the blitz. Nothing. A 4th down, incomplete. 2 plays later, 97-yard touchdown. So he did make some, but he didn't make all of them. The other key to the game was Darnold versus the 49ers defense. So Darnold, all of last year, when you're the scout team quarterback, you play the number 1 defense. So the defense that he was playing against, he got to practice against all year. So who learned more, the defense against Darnold or Darnold versus the defense? Sure seemed like Darnold won that game. So that was just my keys to the game, and Darnold won 1. Purdy was mixed against the blitz.
I don't have anything to say. I didn't watch the game.
I got a whole bunch of notes that I'm not saying.
Sorry.
Anything else I want to say here?
This reminds me. Last season, I kind of a similar thing. I was at this small group with a bunch of guys, and then it was the Niners-Cardinals game, and I didn't watch it. We didn't. We did win that time, and I thought it doesn't matter. It's the Cardinals. I was right.
This time, no.
Fine. I guess I'm a good luck charm.
You're
or
not.
something.
Oh, it's
what? What did you?
You weren't this time. Okay. I talked about the Niners haven't won in Minnesota since 1992.
Yeah.
You know some interesting facts about some of these past games? Would you like to know some history of Niners in Minneapolis?
Sure.
You're going to get it anyway. Here you go.
Okay.
The Niners in Minnesota like to give up big pass plays. Hey, what did they just do?
97 yards, Justin Jefferson, down the sideline.
Yeah.
Something.
Okay. It's 2003. Do you have any idea who the best wide receiver in Minnesota at the time?
Randy Moss.
Hey, good job.
Yay.
Randy Moss had 172 yards against us in 2003. In 2009, Brett Favre had a big play at the end of the game to win it. Last year, right before halftime, do you remember what happened right before halftime last year?
Jordan Addison.
Yeah, cover 0, blitz coverage. So you have Charvarius Ward single covered on Addison.
I honestly, I just want to say, that was a really good catch. I have no idea how he caught that.
Ward almost caught it, and then he ripped it out of Ward's arm. So anyway, Addison did good on there. But there you go. Another big play right before halftime. So Niners, when they play Minnesota, just don't give up the stinking big pass plays against next time we go there. So, okay. There you go.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done with my Vikings rant. Okay.
You want to talk about our predictions that we had for the past?
Yes.
So we weren't able to record before before Sunday, so we're doing it now. But our predictions were for the Vikings to win, right?
Totally. Well, we do a family picks of the week thing.
Yeah.
So if you guys are in that picks of the week, you actually know our picks and where we're at. So the first week, Both Max and I went 3-1.
I got the Lions-Rams game wrong. I picked the Rams.
And then I got the Friday night game in Brazil wrong, where I picked the Packers-Eagles one. So we both got one game wrong in the first week. And then we didn't do as good in the second week.
I got one game right.
He was 1 for 3. So you went 3-1, 1-3.
The one game I got right was the Texans and the Chicago Bears. I just didn't pick the Bears because they're the Bears, and I don't trust the Bears. So
yeah, and then I was 2 for 2. I've missed the Niners game, and then I didn't for which one I missed. But anyway, we were 2 for 2. So overall, I'm leading in our picks of the week here for the Eastman Sport Report. And we'll continue to do that here. Are you ready to do your picks for week 3? Now, in week 3, or with this in here, what we do is we pick the primetime games.
Yeah.
Okay, so there technically is 4 primetime games. We were talking about this beforehand. Are we not counting the Niners game?
No, we are talking about the Niners.
Okay, so we're going to do we could do 5 games?
Sure.
Okay,
because I feel like the 2 Monday night ones are going to be really easy to talk about, and the Thursday night one.
Okay. So,
Thursday night football, Pats versus Jets. Trash or worse trash? Who do you pick? Okay, I said this during the podcast. I forget if I said this before or not. Patriots. If any Patriots fans are out here watching this, I am sorry I was not familiar with Jacoby Brissett's game. I think that's his name.
Yeah, you're right.
Winning against the Bengals, but the Bengals never show up for week 1. But you still won the game, so it's going to count for something. And then you beat
No, they beat the Bengals, but then they went to overtime against the Seahawks.
Yes, and then they lost to the Seahawks in overtime.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's it's definitely an improvement than I thought the Patriots are going to be. I personally thought they were going to be the worst team in the league this year.
Which they still could.
They still could be. It doesn't seem as likely as it was going to be.
Especially when you have the Panthers in the league. But anyway.
And the Giants, who have Daniel Jones in those jerseys.
Yeah. So, okay, who's your pick? Patriots, Jets.
Do I want to have fun or do I pick the reasonable pick? I'll just say Jets.
Okay, I'm going Jets too.
Aaron Rodgers.
The Patriots are doing better, but I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get more and more in sync, and that Jets defense is going to start ramping up too. So it could be closer than we expect, but I do expect the Jets to win.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then Chiefs Falcons. Now this is fun because Kirk Cousins has finally won a primetime game.
He won a few in Minnesota, but not a lot.
He won the Monday Night Football game against the Eagles, going down and getting a game-winning touchdown.
That's one of the games we got wrong last week. But anyway,
that's not the point here.
Okay.
Going down and getting a game-winning touchdown to Drake London.
I think so, yes.
Okay, good. I'm trying my best to be with people's names. I thought it was a really impressive game for the Falcons, especially based on how dominant the Eagles were against the Packers, the team that made it all the way to the divisional round last year. So I thought the Eagles were going to do easily demolish them, especially with Saquon Barkley, who dropped a really easy catch for a first down on third down. So
yeah,
okay,
how much is that going to be replaying in his head all week?
Here. Just look at me for a second. Almost every single player that I have in fantasy football has made some kind of dumb mistake throughout the first 2 weeks of the season.
Is Saquon Barkley in your?
Yes.
Hey, Max, stop drafting players. You're making them. Anyway, sorry, you're making them make the mistakes.
It's like it's one player.
You're the
from
player,
each
not
team.
the coach. Like, come on, fantasy football.
Okay,
sorry,
anyway. With all that said, I picked the Chiefs. Do I have to?
I picked the refs to help the Chiefs win.
I don't think the refs are going to have to help the Chiefs. I think there is going to be some tampering that they're going to do and throw some flags where there should be.
It's 4th and 16. Patrick Mahomes is about to lose. Oh, we better throw the flag. Actually, the play before, they actually got a first down, and they called a holding against the Chiefs.
Yes.
I was about ready to blow my mind. And then the rest psych. Watch what we have in the next play.
They have to do that they have to do the first one so it looks more believable than the second one. So it doesn't look like they're that favoring the Chiefs.
No, they're not favoring the Chiefs at all.
Not at all.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs are just a better team than the Falcons.
No, that's totally true. I mean,
Anyway.
So yes, I do think the Chiefs are going to win that game. So I fake the Chiefs too. Sorry, we're picking the same things. Very boring, but okay. Let's do the Monday night games and we'll end with the Niners game.
Here, you start with the Bengals Commanders.
Bengals Commanders. I think Joe Burrow's starting to get a little bit of a sink here since they came back. No, actually, they didn't beat the Chiefs, hence the flag at the end of the game. So they're 0-2. They need the win. I think Dyson Daniels is playing better than expected.
What did you
Dyson
say?
Daniels?
Jaden Daniels.
Sorry, Jaden Daniels.
Who the heck is Dyson Daniels?
He's an NBA player? I think he's an NBA player.
Dyson Daniels. No, that's how you spell that.
He's an NBA player.
He is an NBA player. He plays for the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
I think.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Jaden Daniels is playing pretty decent. I still think he's going to have some up and downs. I think it's going to be a close game, but I do think the Bengals are going to win.
I'm gonna be on the contrary here. I say that the Commanders are gonna come out and get a win over the Bengals.
Oh.
The Bengals have not looked as impressive as they should be, especially after. Okay. Jamar Chase and Brandon Ayuk, both after being huge babies over the offseason and kind of now with Jamar Chase of wanting a really, really big contract, of not playing good after they come back. I think if the Bengals win this is a get-back game, so then the Bengals actually start clicking because the Commanders aren't a very good team, but I see a lot of potential in them, and I think this is one of the games like the Cardinals had last year of sneaking out wins against really good teams. Like the Bengals are definitely going to be a playoff team this year, in my mind at least.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like as
start 0-3, maybe not, but anyway.
But as of right now, I feel like they're not as polished as they should be. So in that case, I'm going to pick the Commanders.
And the Commanders, like, is it Bijan Robinson as their running back?
That's the Falcons.
Okay, it is. Who's the running back? The running back for the Commanders.
Austin Eckler.
No.
Yes.
Okay, he's one of them, but there's another guy that's doing better than Austin Eckler.
Okay, I'm looking. Okay, for our audio listeners, I am gonna do this. I am looking up the Commanders
who can find
depth chart RB on Google.com. I am clicking on ESPN and waiting for it to load. Brian Robinson.
It was Robinson.
Close.
I was close.
It was a B. Robinson.
Okay. I'm like, I should know the guy because he's on my bench for my fantasy team. But anyway, he's on my fantasy team. So he's actually having a pretty decent year. So I could totally see the Commanders winning, but I'm still going to sit with the Bengals.
Okay.
I'll start off with the second Monday night game. So there's two Monday night games. One's on ESPN, one's on ABC. For those of you who are really keeping track of your viewing things for next Monday night.
You
just go to YouTube TV and just click on it. Anyway, Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Buffalo Bills.
The Jaguars are not good this year. Not a hot take. They're not good.
Something's wrong with the Jaguars. Like, they do not look like people expect them to be. I don't know if it's Trevor Lawrence. I'm ready to dump Christian Kirk from my fantasy team. like something seems wrong with the Jaguars. Like, maybe they need to go back to the preseason. They don't look right. And Buffalo, I'm sorry, Josh Allen is one of the best in the league, and
he's somehow making it do. Like I said, I didn't know if he was going to do it this season, especially with losing his number one receiver. Apparently no. Josh Allen, he's good enough.
He's pretty good. So I'm picking Buffalo.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Let's do our preview of the Niners-Rams game here.
Okay. I got Madden 25 the day after it came out on my birthday, actually.
Okay.
And then I played the Superstar mode as a quarterback. This is a side tangent before I get into this. But I'll wrap this back around. I did it. I went through the combine. I did all the things, and then I get drafted by the Rams. I went, cool. I looked at the depth chart. Wait a minute. Matthew Stafford isn't here. So I look back. So I keep playing, and I go, I think he just got deleted from the league so that they could draft me. Okay, fun. So I keep going. And then I see 2 seasons later, the player retirements. Matthew Stafford retires from the Falcons. What I think happened is in game, the Rams traded with the Falcons so that instead of Michael Penix going to the Falcons, my fake player got drafted to the Rams. So with that being said, I have been playing a lot with the Rams roster, and I feel like I kind of know a lot about them, but they kind of lost their two best wide receivers.
And some of their offensive linemen
and
their defensive linemen, like they're injured like crazy.
But the Niners are too also. So let's go injury bowl. Let's go number 1.
I think the Rams, from a defensive perspective, they are missing Aaron Donald dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
The Niners and Frank, come on, it's Jordan
Dre.
Mason. J.P. Mason, Jordan Mason. This is late night the podcasting here.
Fun fact for everyone out there: Steven cannot talk after 7 p.m.
It's usually about after 9. I'm at 9:44 right now, so yes.
His brain slowly goes down in knowledgeability.
Yes,
until he goes to sleep.
So that's where I got the Robinson. I was close. Okay, so Mason, our running back, I think is going to have another big game. I think the Niners are going to run the game a lot. And so I think that they're going to be able to run the game against the Rams. And I think our defensive line is going to be able to go all after Stafford, because he won't have wide receivers to throw to, and their offensive line is in shambles, and our defense is going to have fun against that. So I think it's going to be that's going to be the lines, basically. The Niners' offensive line and defensive line are going to dominate the game, and that's why Niners are going to win. So that might be my keys to the game.
This is the game for me that Brandon Ayuk has to start playing good again. Because the start of last season, he was amazing. He was catching passes that I didn't know anyone on the Niners team could catch besides Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and
well, he was doing better
Kyle
than some of those sometimes, yeah.
Christian McCaffrey. Wait a minute.
But like, this is also a game where it's like, Ayuk, you got paid $30 million.
Yeah.
If you're $30 million, you got to get open, even without a Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel on the field. Like, go prove it. So
I feel like this is going to be a closer game than it should be because of all the injuries on both sides. If this was a healthy team,
I think it would be closer if they're both healthy, because I think the Rams are a decent team.
I think the Rams are also a good team. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs this year because of all the injuries they're going to have, and it's going to be hard for them to get back into the playoff race. But with that all being said, I do pick the San Francisco 49ers to beat the LA Rams. If you see a pattern here, yes, I am picking the Niners to win every single game of the season. I am not changing, except for maybe the Chiefs if I feel like it. I don't know.
We'll see how the injuries are and see if McCaffrey's back for that Chiefs game. Okay. We're way far into our our podcast here today. What
about you with the Niners?
I said the Niners are going to win.
Just saying.
Based on the offense.
One final thing I want to do.
Yes,
he doesn't know about this yet, so this is a live reaction.
Okay.
Well, he knows what we're going to do, but he doesn't know what I'm going to say.
Okay.
We're going to do a top 5 power ranking so far in week 2.
Yes. Okay.
I have made this myself, and I had some fun
Max's top 5.
Don't make it weird.
Okay. Max's top 5.
Thank you.
Rankings.
So this is week 2, so really anything I say can go, and it doesn't matter what really I say. I have one honorable mention that is not in the top 5, the San Francisco 49ers. I think just because of their injuries, they're not a top 5 team right now. With them being fully healthy, they are. And they're also in a little bit of a slump after the Vikings game. And it's only week 2. So, things are going to change a lot throughout the season. So, yeah, I also just want to talk about different teams. Okay. With that being said, number 5 is the New Orleans Saints.
Okay. No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Keep going.
Okay, I was looking at the Panthers game. I was like, dang, the Panthers suck. And then watching the Cowboys, I go, oh, dang, the Saints are good.
I know.
I don't know where in the Venn diagram of Panthers sucking and New Orleans Saints being good was week 1, but
if you had that on your bingo card, you win.
You are so delusional.
It's more fun at the late night podcasting. Okay.
This is the closest we're going to get to drunk Steven again.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah.
Number 5, Saints. Number 4.
I wasn't done with the Saints.
You're not done?
I wasn't done with the Saints. Okay. It was so fun seeing just looking at the box score and going, wait, the Saints did what to the Cowboys? Like looking at the highlights, like they demolished them on every front. They had they scored touchdown on 5 of their first 6 drives, which was amazing. And keeping the Cowboys defense to that low of a level with Derek Carr as your quarterback, that's just amazing to me. Kind of going back to fantasy football, the Cowboys were the number 1 picked defense in all of fantasy football this year. And they got -2 points that game.
Okay.
So that's okay. That's all I have for the Saints. I think they're going to drop down dramatically from this list eventually in the season. I don't know. They might not. We'll see.
Okay.
But number 4, I think this is the only team that I have that has lost a game so far. Anyway, I have the Detroit Lions. The only reason why I have them here instead of someone else who's also 2-0 is because they did everything right against the Buccaneers besides score points. They had more pass yards, they had more rush yards, they had more time of possession, they had more basically everything, and yet they still somehow lost to Baker or Mayfield and the Buccaneers. So the Lions were really good, especially, I'm going to say Williams. I'm not going to try the first name because I'm not going to remember it. Against in overtime for the Lions, just running through everybody's face was great to watch. Just seeing the power backness of him going through everyone. And the Lions are a really good team, obviously going to the NFC Championship game last year. They did amazing, and they still look really good. It's just that they played against another really good Buccaneers team. They're not in the top 5, but they are really good. Okay. You have anything to say?
No, you're doing good. Keep it up.
Okay.
I'm just writing this down, so I'm documenting this over here. So that's what I'm doing. If you see me, I'm typing.
Okay. Number 3, I have the Houston Texans. I felt a little disappointed of them in week 2, but the week 1 game that they had against Anthony Richardson in the Indianapolis Colts was, I don't know if this is too early to call, but it is one of the games of the year that is probably going to be one of the games of this season of big plays on both sides, really impressive throws, and the Texans being able to go through and still win the game. Like, it felt like it was a really close game, even though I had no doubt that the Texans were going to pull out and win this. Same thing with the Bears and with the Bears game, where it was really close. It was a slog of a game to get through. Yet I had zero confidence in the Bears winning that game. Like, it's the Chicago Bears, and especially after what they did last week, only winning because of Will Levis throwing on his knees and the special teams. I forget exactly how they got their touchdown.
Yeah, it was all defense and special teams. Offense did not do much. Yes.
But throwing for, I forget exactly what it was, but I'm going to say 86 yards on, I'm going to say 86 yards is definitely under 100. That's all I remember. For your first game of the season, a little bit of rookie jitters. I get it. But yeah, still being able to do that, and you can have these slogs of games that are painful to get through, but still be a really good team. Like there were Niners games last year where it was just painful to watch, just slowly going through the game and just like wondering, like, can this be over already? But it's still getting out with the win. Like if I think it was also week 3 last season, or was it week 2? The week we went into SoFi Stadium and played the Rams was a slog of a game, yet I had no confidence for the Rams winning. So that's what I have for the Texans. Number 2, the Buffalo Bills. It's just Josh Allen, honestly. It's really just Josh Allen. He's making things work with whoever is on the receiving core. He's making things work with his own legs. And James Cook I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just going. The coach finally figured out that James Cook exists and is running the ball with him, and he's running very well. He's one of the top 10. I forget. I don't have the stats pulled up. He's one of the top 10 in rushers in this season, and the Bills look really good. Like, in the game against the Cardinals, I think the Cardinals look like okay, a slight off track thing here. The Cardinals, in my opinion, are going to be either I forget exactly the year, but the 2020 or the 2021 Chargers, where they play really good games, but they can't win most of them, but all of their losses are really close, which they had against the Bills. Anyway, what the Bills were able to do against the Cardinals and Josh Allen just putting the game into his hands after his defense barely being able to touch the Cardinals on that final drive. Besides Kyler Murray not seeing a wide open Myers Harrison Jr. Good job, buddy. I'm really impressed with the Bills this season after saying at the start that I don't know how good they're going to be because they lost one of their best tools. I don't see how they're going to move along from this, and they clearly are moving along with this.
Yeah,
so
they're doing good. Yeah, totally agree.
And then the total domination of who did the Bills play? Do you remember?
Oh, from week 2?
Yeah, week 2. Temporary difficulties. I am looking up on Google.com. Buffalo
Miami
Bills.
Dolphins. 31-10.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Miami.
I'm gonna send some prayers up to Tua. He says his agent says that he's not planning on retiring.
But he was put on injury reserve today.
Yes.
So he's out for at least 4 games.
But the way they're able to dominate the Dolphins, who look like they're gonna are a really good regular season team, is really impressive to me. So that's why I have the Bills at number 2. And finally, I have.
You don't want to say it.
I don't want to say it, but it's boring. But it's the right answer, and I don't like that it's the right answer because I'd rather have it be someone else more interesting, like the Saints. But it's the Chiefs.
Okay,
they win games. They're really good at winning games. They win really close games against really good teams. They beat up on really bad teams. They have the refs PayPal on speed dial.
For comparison, would you like to hear the top 5 from ESPN? So we have Max's top 5. For comparison, let's compare Max to the ESPN top 5.
Number 1, Kansas City Chiefs.
Number 2, Buffalo Bills. Number 3, Niners.
Okay.
Number 4, Texans.
Okay.
Number 5, Lions.
Okay, so just move everyone down 1, and then
they have the Saints at 9. Now, the Saints last week in ESPN was ranked 23, so it's a huge jump up for the Saints. But anyway, hey, Max's top 5 are actually, pretty comparable to other outlets out there. So
I just wanted to have some fun.
No, it's good.
I wanted to talk about the Saints because I was like,
yeah.
You're doing what now?
I know. Okay. So
do you have anything to say?
No, I think so. For just kind of working on our podcast here, we're probably going to record one hopefully next week. Don't think we might have to take a week off unless Max does it by himself. I'm taking a business trip.
Oh yeah, he is going.
I do actually have another day job, So,
yeah. This is your day job?
This is not my day job. I have another day job.
He has a day job.
I have a day job.
He is going to Europe for that day job.
Yes. So I will be out of the country for a week. So that's up to Max if he wants to record while I'm not here, or just wait till I get back. I think he needs to do his homework, but
What homework?
Oh, sorry. This is coach player, not father son. Okay.
It's
sorry.
both.
Sorry. Okay. Thanks everybody for listening. Any final words there, Max?
Thanks
everybody for listening. Have a good week. And we'll see you next time.
See ya.